are in effect right now for several South Florida communities, including Palm Beach. One Florida sheriff has a dire warning for residents who might be getting complacent about this storm.
Think of the worst case scenario. This is a storm of storms. Don't know where it's going to hit, don't know what the impact's going to be, but it's not going to be good if it hits or gets close to land.
Meteorologist Jennifer Gray is monitoring the storm's track. She's joining us from the CNN Weather Center. What more are we learning about it?
Well, the 5 o'clock advisory just came out, still packing winds of 185 miles per hour. That's not going down. And the unfortunate part about it is this storm is slowing down, Fred. We were talking about it slowing. It was 7 miles per hour speed. Now it's down to 5. And so this is going at a crawl, a snail's pace over the Bahamas. And so this is going to be a long duration storm at 185 mile per hour winds, and something is moving only 5 miles per hour. That's going to be hours and hours of hurricane force conditions, especially because the hurricane force conditions extend about 45 miles from the center on either side of the eye. And so this is going to basically be an all-day event, an all-night event for a lot of folks in this area. It is incredibly scary, and it's going to be devastating for the Bahamas, unfortunately. So this is going to continue to head to the west, eventually take that northern turn. This is the new track that's out at 5 o'clock, and it looks like we are still seeing maybe a little bit more of a westward shift in the track, especially once you get up to, say, Georgia and the Carolinas. A lot of uncertainty in this section, but if this turn happens sooner than later, that's going to mean the difference in major impacts for Florida and less impacts for Florida. It's still, unfortunately, Fred, too early to tell exactly what the impacts will be, because it's going to be all determining upon that shift to the north. Either way, though, we're still going to get at least hurricane force winds across the state of Florida. In some of these areas, it could stay in hurricane force conditions for several days. You can see that's tropical storm force, I should say, for several days. So that's 45 mile per hour winds in Fort Pierce. This is Tuesday afternoon, still getting the tropical storm force winds across the central portion of the state and up around Daytona Beach, Jacksonville. And then as we get into Charleston, look at that, 67 mile per hour winds. Of course, this is all dependent on exactly where the storm goes. Still a lot of uncertainty. And then the Outer Banks could get hit with possible hurricane force conditions. So it's something to watch over the next couple of days. I wish we had better answers for the state of Florida. Unfortunately, it's one of those things, though, Fred. It's going to mean a huge difference in, say, jogging 15 or 20 miles farther to the west or not. It's that little bit of space can mean all the difference when you're talking about impacts with these storms.
All right, Jennifer, appreciate the update. All right, as we saw, Dorian has already made landfall in the Abaco Islands in northern Bahamas, and the residents of an apartment building ran for their lives as the building came apart around them. Just take a watch and listen.
I'm sketching myself over the door. Yeah. Look at this big ficus just broke off.
All right, Patrick Ottman is in Freeport, Bahamas. So those other, portions of the islands are really already getting hammered, and the damage assessments, it's going to be a while before that really happens. But describe what's happening around you.
It'll probably be days before help gets to those people, unfortunately. But it seems every time we've talked, and we've been talking all afternoon, Fred, every time you come to me, the winds have picked up just by a couple miles per hour. So very, very slowly, conditions are deteriorating here. The Dorian has made landfall about 80 miles away from us. But because, as Jennifer was saying, it is moving so slowly, we are getting the impacts little by little here, but into tonight and tomorrow morning, the storm is expected to be over us. Just like Marsh Harbor and Abaco, where we're seeing those tragic videos where The first video you showed, that there was a brief clip where they talked about people